Today I want to talk about education and education reform that we're doing here in the Senate. And probably the most frustrating thing from my side when it comes to education reform is how people sometimes perceive it. And first and foremost, what I want to say is how important the teachers are for this solution. A lot of times when it comes to education reform, some teachers will say, well, why do you keep picking on us? And it's not that we're picking on them, but it's the critical nature of teaching itself and how that translates into the classroom and student achievement. And teachers are really the solution, and that's why we talk about them so much. They're not the problem, they're the solution. And so some of the things that we're trying to accomplish here in the Senate to move education forward goes along those lines, but a lot of times they are misinterpreted as being a little hard on the teachers. But what we're trying to do, especially like if you look at the mutual consent bill, which has the principal in charge of their building, and them trying to pick the team that best accomplishes the goals. And sometimes it's not necessarily the teacher doesn't work for them because of how they perform, but maybe the teacher teaches a different way than this principal wants to go with their education system. They have a different dynamic or a different philosophy when it comes to teachers. And so for that principal to be in charge of their school, to be accountable for their school, to be responsible for the results, they need to be able to choose which teachers best reflect how I want to make this school work in what I think is the best means to drive student achievement and student outcomes to the best possible format. And that's why we're trying to go down this format and making sure that we have that accountability measure, making sure we have those controls. But again, without responsibility, it's hard to have the kind of accountability measures we're really looking for. So many of the things that we're trying to do is really help the teachers out there. When it comes to performance, I want to make sure that we have our best and brightest out of the universities looking at the teaching profession as a viable profession. And in order to do that, I think we need to have some differentiated pay, where teachers, when they come into the system, don't have to become an administrator or a principal. If they truly love teaching, that's their passion, that's their excellence, that they can stay in the teaching profession and really drive teaching to a whole nother level and make the kind of living that maybe only principals can at this point in time. And that's why, in my estimation, the differentiation, especially when you have differentiation on performance, you have differentiation based upon specialties. We have huge shortages, especially like in special ed, in some of our STEM specialties, where we need a different salary structure than the rest of teaching. And right now we have one salary structure. It's not working. It doesn't work in education. It doesn't work in business. We need to change that. So many of the things that we're trying to do is really to drive forward the system, build enhancements so that we can support our teachers and build a system where teaching is truly the profession that it should be, and that is the most esteemed profession in our society.